You're probably here because you've heard a lot of advice. Good advice. Well-meaning advice. Advice that worked for someone else. And somehow, none of it seems to work for you. You've read the posts, watched the videos, heard the same phrases, repeated in different voices. Be more disciplined. Just start. Push through. Try harder. And every time you hear it, something inside you quietly shuts down. Not because you don't care, not because you're lazy, but because something deeper feels misunderstood. If that's you, let's slow this moment down. You don't need fixing right now. You don't need another strategy. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to be met where you actually are. Because the truth is, advice doesn't fail you because you're weak. Advice fails you because it's often aimed at the wrong problem. And this is not a discipline problem. You might not say this out loud, but you've probably thought it. I know what I should do. Why can't I just do it? You watch other people move forward. You see productivity, consistency, momentum. And meanwhile, you feel stuck, tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix, mentally foggy, emotionally flat or quietly anxious. You start blaming yourself. Maybe you tell yourself you're undisciplined, or broken, or behind. Maybe you think if you could just access more willpower, everything would change. But what if the part of you that won't move isn't resisting? What if it's protecting you? Because when someone is overwhelmed, advice sounds like noise. When someone is exhausted, motivation feels like pressure. And when your nervous system is overloaded, discipline doesn't activate. It goes offline. That's not a character flaw. That's biology. When life has been moving too fast for too long, your system shifts into survival mode. Not dramatic survival, quiet survival. The kind where your body tries to conserve energy. Where your mind avoids anything that feels demanding. Where starting feels heavier than stopping. From the outside, it looks like procrastination. From the inside, it feels like paralysis. Your system isn't asking, how do I succeed? It's asking, am I safe? And advice rarely answers that question. Most advice assumes you're resourced, that you're rested, that your mind is clear. But if you're already depleted, advice becomes one more thing you're failing to live up to. And that creates shame. Subtle shame, the kind that whispers instead of shouts. You should be better by now. Others can handle this. Why can't you? Shame doesn't motivate. It compresses. It makes your world smaller. It narrows your options. It makes rest feel undeserved. And the more shame you carry, the harder it becomes to move. So you stay still. Not because you don't want to move, but because your system doesn't feel supported enough to do so. This is where advice breaks down. Advice focuses on behavior, but what you're dealing with is capacity. You can't out-discipline exhaustion. You can't out-hustle a nervous system that's been running on empty. And you can't think your way out of a state that isn't cognitive. This doesn't mean you're stuck forever. It means the order matters. Clarity doesn't come from pressure. It comes from relief. Motivation doesn't come from force. It comes from safety. When pressure drops, something interesting happens. Your breath deepens. Your thoughts is low. Your sense of choice returns. Not all at once. Quietly. You begin to feel like yourself again. And when that happens, movement becomes possible. Not urgent, not dramatic, just available. This is why advice that says do more misses the point. What you need isn't more pushing. It's permission to stop fighting yourself, to recognize that avoidance was never failure. It was intelligence trying to manage overload, to see that rest isn't quitting. It's RECALIBRATION. To understand that going slow right now isn't falling behind. It's how you prevent disappearing entirely. You're not behind because you paused. Paused. You paused because something in you needed care, and that part deserves respect. There is nothing wrong with wanting life to feel manageable again. There is nothing weak about choosing a pace your system can sustain. In fact, that's how long-term strength is built. Not by forcing consistency when you're empty, but by rebuilding trust with yourself. Trust that you'll listen when something feels like too much. Trust that you don't need to earn rest. Trust that your worth isn't measured by output. This is where real agency begins. Not in doing everything, but in choosing what actually fits. You don't need to become disciplined overnight. You don't need to transform. You just need space. That space to breathe, space to feel, space to remember that you are allowed to move at your own pace. And when you're ready, movement will come back. Naturally, without forcing. Because the part of you that wants to live fully never left. It's just been waiting for the pressure to ease. So for now, let this be enough. You're not broken. You're responding intelligently to a lot. And you don't have to solve your whole life tonight. Just being here, listening, letting your system settle. That already counts. There's nothing you need to prove in this moment. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to rest inside your own life. And when the noise quiets, you'll know what comes next. No rush. Just presence. That's enough for now.